This is the Drive-By with Freeway Frank.
Antoine Tava is at my house. What's happening, Antoine?
Hey, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Can I call you Tava?
Yeah, of course.
Nice to have you here. So we've been friends for a while. You're a Montreal artist, known throughout Canada, the province, and worldwide. You have a big audience in Asia as well.
Yeah, as well, yeah.
Okay, and we met when I was living in Little Italy. You were living in Little Italy here in Montreal, and that's when I was introduced to you, and I was blown away right away. I didn't know why I liked your art, but I did, because it was different from anything that I had purchased or been into in the past. What is it about your art? Okay, and I know you're the artist, but what is it about the art that is special? What stands out to you? Why do you do this kind of art, and what is it called?
I think it's a reflection of like pop culture and very relevant to the market today. So basically, I pretty much follow the trends when I do my art, and I also very nostalgic of you know, the 90s, the early 2000s, even the 80s. So I take a lot of like pop iconic representations, icons, characters,
things that are hot.
Yeah, and kind of reformat them in my own style. So obviously there's a big familiarity to these icons.
And what caught my attention when I was at the art gallery in Old Montreal, where you were doing your exhibition, was I'm a big fan of Notorious B.I.G. I love Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And the minute I saw these two on the wall, I said, I'm taking these home with me. Did Kobe and B.I.G. mean something to you? Or again, do you take anything that's pop culture and make it Tava?
As a whole, I love pop culture, obviously of all eras. But I was a teenager in the 90s, right? So that my youth my teenage years were very 90s driven. And I played basketball in the 90s as a point guard. So that was my thing. So obviously the NBA and all the basketball players were really something that I really enjoyed. And I remember when the album dropped for the B.I.G. album, the first album. So that era was really much my era. So obviously I grew up with that, and I still listen to that music to the day.
What's this art called? What is the name for? Does it have a name?
I would say it's pop art. It's
pop art.
Yeah. I'm a visual artist. That's basically the title of it, but I do a lot of pop art, yes.
Excuse my ignorance when it comes to, anything artistry, paintings, because I'm asking, questions because I really don't know. Pop art because it pops out and grabs you, or because of pop culture?
No, because of pop culture. It's a form of art.
Okay, because I find that, your art does that. When it's on the wall and wherever it is, you're looking at it, and it really does something about it. There's a bit of a cartoon element to it. That's part of it?
Yeah, very cartoony, very nostalgic. I mean, I was obviously influenced by the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
I've been drawing cartoons since I'm a very young child. It was my art from when I was a child to my art today is obviously the execution is much better today, but it's the same thing. Even the themes are quite similar. I used to draw Bugs Bunny when I was 4 years old, and I'm, at this age now, I'm still drawing Bugs Bunny. So it's pretty much been consistent throughout my life.
One of the first things I thought about when I saw the slap heard around the world over the weekend when Will Smith slapped or punched. I don't know what that was. Were you watching that live?
Like an open hand slap.
I
only saw it afterwards.
Afterwards, okay, because we weren't. Let's be honest. We weren't watching. You weren't watching the Oscars, and neither.
No, not my thing.
Neither was I. Not my thing either. I thought of you because I thought, I wonder if he'll do this. Because I could totally see Will Smith slapping in a cartoon kind of way. You know what I mean? Like, would that be something that crosses?
I like trends.
Yeah.
Memes could be interesting.
Yeah.
But something like that
you wouldn't touch.
That I don't really find honorable or any of this sort.
Right.
I don't even want to bother. I don't even want to jump on that bandwagon of trend. I just want to do my art that I feel that I really enjoy doing for myself. And obviously if the market appreciates it, people appreciate it, then that makes me happy. But I won't try to get snippets of these type of
specific things.
Yeah.
And if somebody, I know artists get offended by this when somebody comes up to you and says, and I think I may have done it at some point too, when I was thinking of art to put up in my studio, and you said, Frank, it's subjective. You can't come to me and say, this is what I want. You could give me an idea, but when people go to artists like yourself and say, can you do this for me? How do you react?
So-
because that's not something that
No, I mean,
artists like, right?
So I do get a lot of private commissions.
Okay.
It's something that's normal in the sector of the art. Obviously, I create a body of canvas work and artwork that's displayed in galleries, and people, if they like it, they acquire the artwork.
Yeah.
But I do get a lot of people that contact me, and they'll say like, oh, you know what, I saw a Kobe Bryant interpretation, but I would like it to be maybe him dunking the ball. So can you do it in your style? So I would gladly do that in my style.
That you would do.
Yeah, because I stay still in my style in my Tava sort of box, and just recreate it in a new way.
As an artist, you could live anywhere in the world, but you choose to live in Quebec.
Oh my God.
Which is a very unique place.
Very.
Why?
Look,
I know that you're like, fine. What kind of questions is this guy? They're tough questions, but
maybe
I'm
I
being
have-
honest. I'm
may-
curious. I've always wondered about
maybe
it.
I have the Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm born and raised in Montreal. You know, Montreal has always been dear to me, like many Montrealers, right? We fight for Montreal. We fight for what's right, and we want the city to prosper economically, socially, and all those other aspects. I've been vocal and been on it for many years through my art, through community, through fundraisers, giving back. So it's still very dear to me. For sure that as an artist, there's flexibility. I know I could relocate anywhere. But you know, the Montreal lifestyle has still been very fair. People have been very good to me, very receptive. Living in Montreal has been easy access to many channels when it comes to like the Canadian market and even the American market. So it's a good hub to travel and get travel to other cities very quickly, especially within the US and Canada. So there's that's advantageous. Obviously, winters are tough. I mean, even now, born and raised in Montreal, I just can't get used to winter.
No, especially this past winter was awful.
It's been rough. But it's like I think it just gets harder and harder with age. Maybe I don't know.
The older you get, you start feeling it in your bones.
Yeah. I mean, it's been tough. Have I thought of moving away? Yes, especially in the last couple years, there was a lot of reflection. But I'm still here, and I'm still working hard and cementing, planting more seeds. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I would imagine during the 2 years of the pandemic, for people who are creative like yourself, gave you a lot of time to work on, expand your art, work on a lot of things. Were you did you find that you did more during the pandemic because you didn't have other things to do? Were you focusing in more in your career?
Okay, so my timeline of the pandemic, the way it happened is that prior to the pandemic, I was working on a big project. I was working on a gym project here in Montreal. So I was developing this project, and then we got into construction, and then towards the end of that, when the project is ready to kind of start operating, the pandemic hit. So it kind of put the project in a little bit in a weird situation. The project, I say the gym, right? All the
Panda
Panda boxing, basically.
which is a fantastic gym in Montreal that I was going to ask you about, because keep going. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
There's so much
it's a
behind
boxing facility located in Old Montreal. Really proud of this project. Me and my partner, co-owner, Anthony Haddad, we built this from scratch. It's a fun story. I really always loved this combat sports, MMA and boxing, and I wanted to train boxing because I had heard it was one of the best sort of fitness cardiovascular training that you can have. And through mutual friends, I met Anthony Haddad, and he became my coach. But via that, we became very, very close friends. And he always had a dream of opening a gym one day. He was an engineer at the time, and kind of like used to, he had a steady job, and kind of like made for him in that sense at that time. And but he always had the passion of coaching and bringing that a little bit further for himself. So one day I just like kind of said, "Oh, do you have a business plan? And sounds intriguing." So he showed me his business model. He had a really elaborate business model that was well advanced. So I looked at it and I was like, "Wow, this is really, really cool." And I was like, "What about if we add this twist and this twist?" And it just kind of evolved naturally. And I said, "You know what? if you're down, I'm down. I'll do it with you. And that's where it just took off. Where like he was like, "You serious?" Yeah. And obviously we were both scared. We're getting into the brick and mortar business. We don't know much about like brick and mortar other than background stuff that I worked in the service industry and all that when I was young, in my younger days. But it kind of took off from there, and we just kind of jumped full gun and starting building this facility, and then from there, well, it's was no turning back. So now with Panda Boxing, I'm here in Montreal. I'm working on it. We're super ecstatic that we're back on track. The gym is packed. We have a beautiful community, beautiful members. It's quite something. We're really proud of what we did.
One of the things I remember when you told me the idea, because we're friends, we've known each other for about a decade now. One of the things that I remember when you mentioned to me about Panda Boxing was, Frank, it all begins, you taught me this. And I kept this in mind when I started my podcast. Yeah, believe it or not, you taught me something, Tava. There you go. And it wasn't, it does have something to do with art, is that branding is everything. And you started, I guess, your vision for the gym and Panda Boxing began with the Panda and the brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me a bit about branding, because it's all, when they say it's all in the brand and it's all in branding, as I said, it's what you taught me. If you have the right logo, you have the right look, it all coincides together. It really is an important key in establishing what you're trying to do, whatever business you're trying to start.
Absolutely. I think through any art form or any business that you start, I think you have to elaborate on the synopsis of the business. Like, what's the story, right? And I made a story through the Panda. The Panda was based on my partner and other little micro stories. So we kind of built that. And I think that's how you build community. And obviously, as well, like, going into Italian cafes all of our lives, and you kind of go in not knowing anyone, and then you leave and you end up having 10 friends. That was sort of what I wanted to do for Panda. And through the branding, through getting that place like warm and cozy and having cool visuals and getting sort of that strong identity where people can relate with, I think that was the key to Panda Boxing.
Which also has Panda Boxing, if you go there, you're not only going there to, learn how to fight and work out at the gym. It's more than a gym. It's an experience. It really is. It's
look, like, I don't want to sugarcoat it, but
no, it really is.
It is. We have our community is so tight. It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to compare to other gyms. I just know what we're doing, and
it's unique.
It's unique.
Yeah.
People come there, they hang out. We see them on a daily. Even if they don't even train, they come in for a coffee or a smoothie.
Because there's a café at the entrance of the gym.
Yeah, so instead of doing like a typical reception area, we decided to do conceptual. So we went against the grain, basically.
On everything.
Like gyms tend to have high ceilings and huge windows, and you could see a lot of sunlight. We actually went underground, speakeasy, purposely barricaded all the windows so you can't see inside, and if you're training, you can't see outside. There's no outside distractions. And when you go into the reception area, it's basically a reception, and you're not really sure what's going on because it looks like a full-blown coffee bar, smoothie bar that has like bleachers, and you could sit on stools, so it's full out. And you could just go in for a coffee and just not even know there's a gym, because the gym is through like this white door, this white huge metal door that you go through, and then you're going into sort of the bat cave. It's a sort of dim lights, very intimate setting, and it's where you leave all your problems behind. Once you cross that door and you just box, you smash.
It's the same concept in at casinos in Las Vegas. You'll never see a clock, right?
Exactly.
And you'll never see a window because they don't want you looking out. They want you to gamble.
They want you to spend the money.
At your gym, it's because you want people to stay there and to work out, to focus on their workout and to enjoy the experience. And when they walk in, so your cafe, your gym is called Panda Boxing. Your cafe is called Café Ludo.
Ludo, yeah.
That also has
the fox.
The fox.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with the fox? So it's a panda and a fox.
Yeah. So the fox was actually, the panda's based on Anthony, my partner, and the fox is sort of my alter ego.
Okay.
It's a character that I created maybe 12 years ago, and he was sort of like my alter ego style character, right? He was like a cool much cooler than I am, actually.
No, you're pretty cool, man. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you, the Fox is cooler. But and then I said, you know what? Let's just call it Café Ludo, and we did a full branding of coffee bags and coffee cups to go and art and everything. So it could live. So the coffee could live on its own as a brand and as a business, and the gym could also live alone independently. So if I were ever to open a coffee place, Ludo, it could live on its own.
Do you ever see yourself franchising this, or do you like the fact that it's unique, one of a kind, or do you like the idea that you could expand into more businesses across Quebec, Canada, and the world?
Yeah. So to circle back, when you're saying visual identity, branding, all that, it's very part of the franchisee sort of mentality. I think we opened the place with the mentality that it could be multiplied, but it doesn't mean that it'll be multiplied copy paste cookie cutter, that everyone is going to look the same, because as an artist
you don't want that.
You don't want to always you want to create, you want to be innovative, right? You want to just new eye candy every time, but the core of the branding always remains the same. So there was that idea of potentially expanding the brand, and it's in the
it's in the works.
It's in the works.
Maybe
we're thinking about it. Yeah, we're thinking about it.
It really is. Like I commend you, honestly. Like hats off to you for what you did, because it really takes. Some people open up a business and they think, we're just going to start the business. We're going to open the doors. Build it and they will come. That was the old motto.
Yeah.
But now, more than ever, and especially in 2022, after what we went through in the last 2 years of COVID, it's not just build it and they will come, because they won't come. Even when something is as cool as Panda Boxing or Ludo Café, they're going to come when they feel they're part of something. And that's what you're trying to do, create an experience.
Yeah, we actually created a tribe. It's a Panda tribe.
It's a tribe.
People
and I
come
see
there,
that hashtagged. And you thought of everything, man.
We thought of everything.
Yeah.
We wanted... Because gyms have a stigma, right? Boxing gyms in particular. I love boxing gyms, even the grittiest ones, because those are the real deal, right? They're raw. But we were different, right? We wanted to be in the old port, and we wanted to cater to a demographic of men and women that would feel also very, very comfortable. I'm not saying that women won't feel comfortable in gritty gyms. I'm just saying we wanted to just cater to everyone and to feel like really homey. And this was really done through just not the way the gym looks, to who we are as people also. We kind of embody what we're showcasing, right? People come there, they feel comfortable, they make friends very easily, and that's exactly what we wanted. And it just happened organically. Even if we thought of it, we can't force it, right?
Right.
It's based on service, it's based on aesthetic, and it's based on what if we're aggressive and we have chips on our shoulders, that you attract that kind of people. We're easygoing, we want people to be happy, we're very accommodating, and we value everybody.
I've always been somebody who's, I've been in front of the mic. I've always been about the content. But honestly, I sat down with Tava because you are a friend of mine. Do you remember when we outlined a bunch of things about the drive-by, about the show?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And you brought up all these things, and I was like, these things that I was not even thinking about. The look of the studio, what I was going to put behind me. Pictures on the wall. In this case, it's Tava's art. He said...
I'm biased here.
Sorry?
I'm biased.
You're biased. The beautiful art, the great art behind me is all Tava's. But you said, okay, well... And I'm saying this because I think there's a lot of people that could learn from this, because I learned from it. Frank, what are the things that you like? Put them on your podcast table. So on my podcast table, I have, I love gambling. I'm not embarrassed about it. I have poker chips, cards, a little remnants of my history from my years in, radio, the books I read. I love comedy, the comedians I like. I'm a scotch drinker, the music that I like. You taught me that, honestly, and I thank you for that, because it's not like I wasn't thinking about it, but I wasn't. It's like it's there somewhere in your subconscious, but it doesn't come to the forefront unless somebody like yourself brings it to the forefront. And you taught me that, and that is crucial when it comes to branding. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Honestly, it's just like, it's not always instinctual, right? It's just somebody has to guide you, but you already know what you like. I could just I could just kind of direct you and steer you a little bit in that way and say, you know what, if you like, these are the things you like, just implement them. This is your lifestyle. This is who you are. Showcase who you are.
And people need to do that even when it comes to something as simple as their social media or any job that they do. It doesn't matter what career or what job they do, right?
Exactly.
You should show.
And you didn't try to create a perception, like a persona that you're something else. You took elements that you really genuinely enjoy,
right?
And you made them part of your brand identity.
Do you find people do that a lot? Not only in your field, artists, I'm sure, are not. I'm sure there are fake artists, but but at the same time, like in other words, people just following the trends. But when you look at what's happening in the world in 2022 and how people are, this other persona that people are putting out there, do you see it in your business as well? Like that
I think
things that you look at and go, that's not what this guy's all about? Or
you see it in every business. It's part of the branding and the visual identity. It's like, how do you want to be perceived, right? And that perception will attract consumers or new clients or new community. The only thing is that you got to back it up with the product, right?
People could see through the...
Yes. At one point, if I don't deliver the canvas, the quality that I promised, well, they won't be coming back. So you could maybe clip them once, but you don't want to do that, right? You want to establish a relationship with these people, no matter what the business is. So I think it's very, very, very important that you deliver a product that's like, at the highest level that you can.
When we first, I'm not saying, and I'm not putting this out there, to say that you struggled, but from when we met, I don't ever remember you struggling, because I've only known you for about a decade and you've been rocking and rolling for the last decade. But I imagine you struggled in the beginning, like anyone else in their field. How did things turn for you? Like for somebody who's starting off, what do you say to them? Like how long before it hits? There's no magic number.
It's a mental game.
It's a game.
So it's a mental game, because the way I did it, right, I had a corporate job, 9 to 5, let's say, working in...
What were you doing?
So I was working as an art director. Okay. So
you were an art
I was still in the field of art, making a decent salary, the 9 to 5, and so on. And then I took that leap of faith, right? So what happened is that I always admired artists. I couldn't label myself an artist. I didn't even dare to, even though I was good at drawing and good at executing and even working with producers on high caliber projects. I didn't dare call myself an artist because I felt like I wasn't. So but I always admired what artists were doing, like, let's say, graffiti artists, muralists, painters, all the genres of artists. And I was like always very intrigued of like, wow, it's so honorable that they're able to do what they love and hopefully create themselves income and create a career out of this, right? Out of something that they love. And that's what triggered me. I was like, how do you do that? And while I was working, I took the opportunity to start my first solo show. So I just started painting. I said, you know what? I'm going to do a body of work. I was inspired by one of my trips to Italy. As yourself, we've been to Italy. We go to Italy often. Yeah. I go maybe 3-4 times a year, pre-pandemic, obviously. And I used to spend my entire summers in Italy, and my family and my grandparents. So it's very dear to me. So anyways, I took this trip, and I kind of like re-energized and kind of rethought of everything. And when I came back from that trip, I said, you know what? I'm doing a solo show. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I don't know how to set it up or anything, but I just kind of learned on the go. I rented a gallery. I did all the PR campaign myself. Obviously, you invite your friends and your family, and then you hope that
people show up,
And I built this beautiful body of work. And people showed up. A lot of people, very supportive. But what was very cool is that other people started showing up from the art community. People walking by. At the time, I rented a gallery in the Plateau area of Montreal,
which is a very trendy.
Yeah, it was very trendy and very artistic. And this is about 12 years ago. And I set up the show, and it was overwhelming. And the show did really well. I sold everything. I mean, obviously, they were almost giving away my pieces at that time, but it's okay. I knew that was the way. You have to get in people's homes, right? That was important. So I had prints. at $20, just like, but it was so motivating. I was like, wow, people are really appreciating the art that I'm actually delivering. I'm not creating this content for a producer or for anyone else, but other than myself, right? Yeah. And I really generally enjoyed doing it. And I think that was the beginning where it really, really clicked. And I was so motivated that I think in the period of 3 months, I rented another gallery and did a whole entire new show with all of body new work. And I got more visibility from, now this time, press. And I was pushing. I was cold calling, I was pushing. And then that's when I decided to take the leap of faith, quit the 9 to 5, and say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it, going to go rogue and see what happens. And, it's a hard call to make because obviously I had savings and this stuff, but it's hard because you have a mortgage, you have a car, you have a girlfriend, you got responsibilities. So there was, but at that time I was like, I felt like it was now or never. I got to do it. And I'm, typically I'm ambitious in life and I'm a go-getter. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And I never looked back. But, I won't lie, the first 2-3 years were a major struggle.
That's not bad, 2-3 years.
No, it's
For
not
some
bad.
people,
it's not bad, but it was like...
But it was probably not...
Bottom of the barrel, right? It was like... I remember my first account, like every year doing my income tax papers, my accountant was like, I was declaring like $9,000 on my first year.
It's like, why bother?
Then my second year, 11,000. So I was below, poverty lines, and obviously you got a mortgage. So you have to decide really quickly, what do I do? Do I sell my condo? There's big decisions to be made that, but you have to have faith, right? It's all about faith but rational at the same time. You don't want to you can't think that you're a God's gift and you're going to make it, right?
Right.
I was balancing everything out, Third year, it was also maybe 15,000. And my accountant was like, you were making a good salary and now you sure you want to, he even said,
He's giving you career advice.
Said, you sure you want to continue this? And I was like, holy shit, when your accountant tells you that, it was it's a bit mind-boggling, and it kind of, you kind of doubt yourself, right? Yeah. But I think that I kind of pushed that to the side very quickly. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a bit more time because like any startup in life, you hear stories after 5 years. I just kind of went like that with the that general idea, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and continue. And things starting unblocking. Look, I worked in those first 3 years 10 times harder than now. Not that I can't say I don't work hard now. It was different. I did everything. If somebody called me to do a gig, a mural during an art festival or the Just for Laughs or any type of project, right? Any type of collaborative project, and they gave me $500 for materials and my time, which was probably like a 3-day gig and whatever, and it cost me $600, I would still take it. I did it. I just went for it. That was the way I could build my brand, my notoriety, and get some visibility, right? We know Montreal is a small market, but I felt like that was the only way I could cement it. And then intertwined with all those type of projects, I traveled. So I said, you know what? I want to discover the world a little bit more, and I want to see what artists are doing out there, and I want to meet other artists. Because I was so immersed in the corporate side that I wanted to get more into it. As an artist, right? As an independent artist. So I went to Brazil. I stayed there for a month. I went to multiple places at my own expense to do murals. And Brazil was fantastic. Actually, I think I did 12 murals in 3 weeks.
And those are at the side of a building.
Side of a building, people's homes. Sao Paulo, Brazil is really interesting because everybody has a wall or a gate in front of their home. It's a thing, right? All the homes are kind of surrounded by concrete walls, and
it's they're gated communities.
They're kind of. It's not that they're gated communities. They're just
protected.
They're just protected homes. Yeah. They're all like that. It's like that in Brazil, in Sao Paulo specifically. But they really do appreciate art, and they want you to embellish their walls. So I would just knock on people's doors via some other friends that were in Sao Paulo that were also curators of art, and we would establish some contacts. And it was like one day I would just hit up a wall here, and then the next day a wall there, and it was
you just leave your print everywhere around the world.
Yeah, it was really, really a nice time. So I'm really appreciative of those days of just going full rogue and getting my work out there.
I don't know much about art. I've learned everything that I've learned about art through you, mostly. I like art. I know what I like. You always say I like more abstract art.
Yeah, I think so.
Some
yeah.
of the art that
Less
I've
but
purchased.
this is very figurative, I would
This
say.
is figurative.
Yeah.
That's why I like it. This particular art
Portraits.
that's behind me, which Tava did all these. I call that one the end of radio. I don't know if you see that one.
That's a
It's
good
a
one.
speaker melting, then Kobe Bryant and BIG. Does art automatically go up in value, or not necessarily? How does that work?
No, not automatically. I would say it's speculative. It's a speculative market, right?
You go into an art gallery. How do you know that your art? Because they always say art is a good investment. It never goes down. It's kind of
Yes.
like real estate.
Yes. I think it depends what art you buy, right? It's all relative, right? Like anything. If you buy an artist that's an amazing prospect and you see that has potential, it risks gaining value, and a lot of value. Some artists are hot on the moment, and then 10 years down the line, you never hear from them because, I don't know, something happened in their life, or the career just didn't take off. So it's speculative like any other sort of business or market, right? First of all, what I would always recommend is you buy art because you like it. There is obviously that investments mentality, which is fine, and it's great. But I do think that if you're going to hang it on your wall, you have to learn to live with it. You have to love it for a long time. So that's like definitely the general rule for purchasing an art.
And what's the difference in terms of an actual painting that you would do, or a print? Because we've talked about this, and I'll be like, wait a minute. So, and I don't care because I purchase whatever I purchase because I like it. You have to like it first, like you said. But I have whatever I have, a painting or a print. Prints could go up in value just as much as a painting.
As well, not as much. I wouldn't say as much. Prints are more of it's a limited series. They're signed and numbered typically, and typically they're made once. So it could be an edition of, let's say, hypothetically 25 of the same image, numbered and signed. So yes, depending the artist, depending the market, all that, it could be more desirable. The canvas, on the other hand, is a lot more expensive as a purchase item, and the chances of going up in value if the artist becomes more and more popular, your chances of probably of the piece gaining a lot more value than a print.
So it's almost like, and again, excuse my ignorance, it's almost like memorabilia. When you buy something from a player that is a more popular player, obviously, the bigger the player is, or if the player is no longer with us, it goes up in value. So it's kind of art is kind of the same way.
It's the same thing. Like, similar. I remember when I started my art career, it was this buddy of mine, actually, he must have at least 10 original canvases in his home right now. And this is from my really, really early work. I think it's from 2010. And I think he must have paid $300-$400 at the time, and probably now the resale would probably be close to $10K for each piece.
For each piece,
yeah. And I mean, I'm happy for him because he was one of my first supporters. But it's great for him, right? What a great purchase, right? It's
almost like he knew that you were going to be.
He had faith.
Right?
He had faith.
Yeah,
he was a childhood friend. He wanted to support at the time, and it's pretty awesome. When I go to his pad, I see that. I'm like, and it brings back memories for me as well. The early days of my art career.
So I watch you on Instagram posting about digital art now is the big thing, NFTs. I have absolutely no idea when it comes to all this stuff. Metaverse. I had a friend of mine just a couple of weeks ago who is in building. He's a builder, builds homes, and he's in the metaverse, and he was trying to explain the whole thing to me. Then I saw you posting what you were posting on your social media with your digital art. No clue. Explain to me what the hell is happening with these NFTs, because everywhere you look, they're there, and especially what's happening in your field with digital art. Is the hype real? The hype's real.
So look, there's the hype is definitely real. There's a huge hype. It's the big keyword NFT. Everybody's talking about NFTs. Look, the NFT is even new for me in a sense that, I'm a conventional artist in the sense I'm a visual artist, canvas, murals, prints, all that good stuff that typically visual artists are known to do. Now the NFT is tapping into the digital space, which, artists also work digitally, right? You could draw with a Wacom tablet, you use Photoshop as a tool, but now you could purchase this art digitally. So basically a file that's, let's say, a drawing that's digitalized, JPEG or whatever you want to say, and then it's uploaded onto the blockchain, onto OpenSea, and then you could purchase it using, let's say, Ethereum currency.
With crypto.
With crypto, right? So what it's done is that it's a pretty fun, it's interesting because I'll speak for myself. Most of my art collectors have always purchased tangible art, right? Canvas and prints and whatnot. So now with the NFT realm, these people that are buying, the art collectors that were buying the original artworks that were tangible, now are starting to convert and buy also the NFTs. So there's an educational phase there between the tangible and the NFTs. There's also different type of currency. So the purchase style is also different because they have to open up a wallet, a MetaMask wallet, and then through their wallet connect it to the online store in which you could buy your NFT. And then once you purchase your NFT, that file gets dropped into your wallet. And then you could see it on your phone or on your laptop.
And it's yours.
And it's yours.
And it's only...
And then after that...
One print? It's an original.
The way I did it, I did one of ones. Mine were all unique. So I dropped a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I created a project called the Mito Fox Club.
MITO, I saw that.
MITO, yeah. Mito Fox Club. And I released many unique Mito Foxes. So when I say unique, the way I did it is that I'll just like kind of baby step it. Basically, I draw my fox character. I created this new fox character. And I created many variations. The variations are composed of mouths, noses, hats, outerwear, clothing, whatnot.
All unique.
All accessories.
But then, all unique from one another.
So I draw 1,000. I draw one fox, multiply by 1,000. Then I create all the unique variations, the hats, the mouth, the accessories, the sunglasses, whatnot. Then in a JavaScript code, I create an algorithm system in which it takes all those unique hats and clothing, and it creates a system where every fox is dressed and looks different. Are you following?
Everyone is unique.
So everyone is unique. So there's 1,000 unique foxes. There's not one that repeats itself, and the algorithm helps me to do that. Right? It doesn't double up. So if a fox, you might have the fox with the same hat, but eventually it won't have the same mouth and same eyes. So they're all unique. So then I launched this to market.
This is crazy, by the way. I mean, it's incredible, but at the same time, for somebody like myself who I'm just starting to understand it, you look at it and go, wow. And this is all out, like crypto.
Yes.
There in like
sorry if I'm stumbling on the process of explaining.
No, it's amazing. I'm actually understanding it. Yeah. I'm just saying it's nuts. It's nuts when you think about it.
It's quite something. And what it is that it's not, we think the art collectors, but it's way beyond the art collectors. It's another realm of new type of clients. So you could have somebody buy an NFT today that never bought an art piece yesterday. It's totally new.
And they're buying it because, are they usually younger? Are they usually deal in crypto?
Yes, okay. It's the age of the crypto, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these maybe more youthful people are investing more and more into crypto. They're buying Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
So they're building up their wallets, and then they're following now the markets, like via Instagram and via the markets of like what's going to be hot, and they try to jump on it based on speculation, based on the hype, marketing dollars that these agencies are pumping. They follow the trends, and they're like, okay, well, that's the artist I need to buy.
Because like a stock, it'll go up.
Like a stock. And it's a community in which really value that the floor price goes up. Mm-hmm. If they buy it at a certain price, they highly expect it to go up. Then there's that. So there's maintenance of the project. You gotta stay on the ball. You gotta feed the community. You gotta communicate with the community. So what's also interesting about the NFT is that typically when an art collector buys a painting from me, they buy it, they hang it in their house, and that's it, right?
It, yeah.
They're happy.
You look at it.
They're happy.
You tell everybody about it.
I hope they're happy.
Yeah.
We take pictures, and that's it, right? The NFT communities, it doesn't work like this. They'll buy the NFT, but they want to make sure that you have longevity, that you give them a roadmap that tells them what's to come. So the floor price of the NFT, the value goes up. Mm-hmm. So that's really their focus. They really want the project to increase in value. So you, as an artist, you got to maintain that. You got to maintain the community. You got to be very much in relationship with the clients, with the community.
Someone like myself has no idea. I'm just learning about it right now. Is our prices similar? Are they based on what the artist sets? What am I looking at? So if I want to buy Mito, like I don't know. Like, is there a price that I'm looking at, or am I just looking at your regular art and saying, okay, this is the value that Tava has, so this is what I'm going to pay for, but it's all different because it's crypto.
Yes, but I don't...
Like, what does something go for? An example. What's an average price, just to understand, or not really, you can't really...
It's hard to say. Like, you could buy an NFT today for $1,000, and then it could resell for $7,000 tomorrow, or you could buy one for $1,000 and it just stays at $1,000, right? Yeah. So I did it really fair. I forgot the comparisons of what I usually charge for my pieces.
Something brand new.
I did something brand new, and I wanted it to be accessible. That was my thing. I want to be accessible, affordable. I wanted people that are fans to have it in their wallet. I think it was something new, very innovative. I was one of the first in Montreal to do it the way I did it.
I saw that.
So that was very important for me, and I don't want people to miss out. So I think I had it at 0.08 ETH, which was at the time about 200 USD plus gas fees. So fair, very fair.
$200 US.
Yeah, maybe below average of some other artists.
Okay.
Went exceptionally well. People were really happy with the outcome and happy with the Mito Fox. And now I'm working on maintaining the project, creating new characters. So it's basically an ecosystem that I'm doing, right? I'm introducing new characters bit by bit. I'm doing giveaways, freebies, nourishing the community via Discord. We're communicating. I'm getting a lot of feedback from them because they're sometimes more savvy than I am, right? Some people have been into crypto and into NFTs years before. I'm still fairly new, so I'm learning from a lot of my community members, and it's important to have that dialogue. So this is a little bit what's going on right now.
Do you find people in your community, other artists, are getting into this as much as you have in the last little while, or not really? Do you find that, because I follow a bunch of different artists and I see you, and not because you're my friend, but it seems like you're always at the cusp of everything that's about to hit. You're there right before it. You know what I'm saying? You hear about it from Tava, and then it becomes, when it's mainstream after it, it's like, yeah, Tava, been there, done that a couple of years ago.
Thank you. I think that is a compliment. You know what it is? In Canada, in Montreal, we tend to be just a little bit slow.
Okay.
And there was hesitance. I could have done this a year ago, but even a year ago, I was hesitant because I didn't know about the copyrights. I didn't know digital art, people could just steal it or snapshot it, and then what? It was still very. I was still very unsure about it. But it's also because in Montreal in general, or in Canada, it was still very new, so there wasn't a lot of comparables. I couldn't ask other people, so how did it go for you? I could only see what was going online, and the US were very much in advance with us. So you know what? I was just like, I feel like this is the time to do it, and I'm just gonna, based on all the knowledge that I acquired throughout the year of reading up on it and kind of following other American artists that were doing it, I just said, you know what, it's time to do it, and I really want to be one of the first in Montreal to do it and create this sense of community in the NFT crypto world.
One of my buddies, as I said, introduced me to the metaverse, okay? And said, you have to have a podcast. I had no idea what he was talking about. We had a conversation a few weeks ago, but this was like maybe a year ago. And I said, I have no idea what you're saying. And he was trying to explain to me how having a podcast in this alternate world, in this metaverse, is what you should be doing and what you should be getting ready now, right? The same way that you're doing what you're doing. How do NFTs and what you're doing link to the metaverse? Is that, so now do you have what you're doing in that world as well?
So I mean, it is sort of the metaverse, right?
It is the metaverse.
It is the metaverse because it's a digital space, but now in the metaverse, you could buy lands.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because Snoop Dogg bought a house for, I don't know, I think he paid it $10,000, but then the person who bought the house next to Snoop Dogg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think it was a house, but yeah, something like
whatever he bought, land, and the
now.
person that bought it next to him in the metaverse, unless I'm losing my mind, paid a couple of million. Is this?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. So you're buying pixels. No, so basically, yeah, it's all tied in with the cryptocurrency, right? And people are buying lands and they're investing, and the prices are going up quite quickly. In the last months, it's staggering how much. It's like stocks, right? Could be a crapshoot, or you do really, really well. It's the same type of thing. So people are really investing. I mean, I just bought the ape coin, the Bored Apes NFT community. Came out with their own coin, and I
just bought it.
I bought some shares of the coin. So
you see you're not hesitant at all. You're very confident in it.
I mean, I'm very conservative. I'm not a gambler.
Yeah, you don't strike me as you never.
I'm not a gambler by nature, but I was like, I'll buy a little bit. Why not? I'll try it out. It's not like I'm risking major, but you never know, right? You just don't remember Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Bitcoin.
But at some point, it was worth very little.
Exactly, and it just skyrocketed. So it's
skyrocketed. So you think this is, from your perspective and what you do for a living as an artist, this is not only the future. This was yesterday. This is not going to go away.
I think what's happening now is there's an influx of a lot of people that are jumping on the NFT bandwagon.
Yeah,
I saw it a lot in the last 4 or 5 months. Like a lot of people now, even a lot of, which is great because it's giving a lot of illustrators and designers a new way to showcase their art form. Because a lot of artists are not just tangible artists. Some of them are strictly digital artists. So this is amazing for them to showcase their art and actually even, create a type of career for themselves. But there's been a huge influx. So I'm really curious to see like what's going to happen. Is there going to be a filtering type system that's going to happen, natural type of filtering? Or are people going to get bored of the NFTs? Are the artists going to be the survivors of the NFTs? Because artists are usually, it's their career and their passion, and they do this in perpetuity. So there's that's like intriguing as well for me. So because with the NFTs, what happened is that a lot of agencies have invested in artists to create NFTs. So they use an artist or they use an in-house artist to create their own NFTs, and then through their agency, launch it to market. So there's a lot of that going on. But if it's a crapshoot, they lose a lot of money. If it goes well, they make a lot. So it's
a crapshoot, like you said. You're taking a chance.
What's going to happen?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to predict. Like some people say, well, how do you see it in 10 years? Honestly, it's so new to me that I don't even know where it's going to be in 1 year, because I think it's going to it could change very drastically. The mentality could change very drastically. Like naturally, are people going to just be like bored of it, or it's going to become better and crazier, and there's going to be bigger opportunities?
And I think, like you said, the younger generations, are millennials and even younger, are the ones that are going to take a chance on it, right? Because people who are older, obviously, like you said, more conservative, more hesitant with their money. They've experienced a lot more. They know that things can turn on a dime. You grew up in the 90s, so I'm not sure if you remember exactly, but I remember I was pretty young. I was in just barely 20 when the .com boom happened. Yeah. And then that went kerplunk, right? It just disappeared. So to me, as somebody who sees what's going on now with the metaverse, the NFTs, everything, digital art, whatever it is, and I look at it and I remember that time, I go, well, there was a lot of hype during the .com era, and look what happened then. That's how how my mind...
It didn't go away. It stabilized, right? So I think the NFTs is going to stabilize. Stabilize, and I think the artists...
It won't go away.
No, I think the artists that are doing NFTs and doing well, I think they'll just continue doing NFTs. And they'll keep doing... For myself, I'll never replace one thing for the other, right? I have a channel now, let's say. Let's call it like that. And it's NFTs. and then I have the other channel that's Define Art. So I just
Everything you do is different. It's
It all look-
it's all under the same umbrella.
It all ties in because it's all aesthetically the same. It's all the same style, but
You keep it on different platforms, but under the same umbrella.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is incredible, and I've learned a lot just by asking you those questions, honestly, because I've been
I
wanting.
mean,
to,
I'm still learning.
yeah. Well, it's just I feel better about it when somebody like yourself explains it to me, right? Because it's easy to just see what's going on and just go, oh yeah, hype. I've been there, done that, seen that before. But then when somebody who's in it explains it the way you have, I think a lot of people have learned, like I have today, a lot more about it. So and are less hesitant maybe to explore it one day. So you have is it an online store? Where can, okay, so
Yes.
if somebody wanted to buy some Tava art, okay, this not for sale here at the Drive By Studio, how did they contact you? You also have a lot of branding and
Yeah, so
things that you
basically,
sell.
they can always contact me directly, Antoine Tava on Instagram, at Antoine Tava on Instagram. The Mito Fox NFTs, they're no longer available. Those are all sold out.
Missed the boat.
Next one. I have work with another vendor here in Montreal, Station 16 Gallery. They carry a lot of my prints right now, so they're my primary vendor in Montreal.
You have a wardrobe actually that
Yeah, so basically right now, good timing, spring, summer, I'm launching my first clothing line.
incredible.
So it's called Tava. Very simple.
TAVA, of course.
TAVA.
Yeah. You've always been somebody who's been,
Well, I
a
always
good
like-
dresser.
Thank you.
Even though you always wear black, and I forgot to tell you, don't wear black in front of the black curtains.
I don't have it. I don't have anything.
You don't
else.
wear anything
I don't
else.
have anything else but
Yeah.
black. I would not wear anything else. Sorry, Frank.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So, I've always loved obviously clothing and stuff like that, and the garment industry and the service industry, and this really came full circle again. I mean, I worked in retail when I was a kid and selling high-end clothing, and I loved it. And now I find myself like producing clothing. So last year, I launched my first collection of clothing line, and it was available at Haute Renfrew. So it was really cool. Haute Renfrew gave me an entire space that's called L'Espace. It's at the entrance of Haute Renfrew in Montreal and St. Catherine. And they dedicated entire square footage for me where I could created my entire clothing collection. So I had jean jackets, I had sweaters, crew necks, socks, I had water bottles, I had a whole entire array, a Tava line. And I did that all on my own, and Haute Renfrew was obviously very supportive. We made banners, the whole team was on it, the marketing team. It was fantastic. I was really, really happy about the outcome, and it propelled the project. So what happened is that through that, I got a lot of eyes on it, and friends of friends that were in the garment industry for a very long time, and we kind of met up, we had a meeting, and they're like, we really believe in you and in this project, and we want to partner up with you, and let's make this Tava clothing, let's do it. And I didn't say no. I was like, yeah, I'm down. They have the know-how and the production know-how and all that, and it's a beautiful team of people. And so we formed this group, and we went into full force into production. And I'm really excited. I just received the merch last week.
Incredible.
Yeah, we made everything from scratch in Turkey. So all these sweaters, everything is made from scratch. We chose the cottons, the colors, the cuts, all the labeling we did ourselves. Obviously, I did a lot of the designs, most of the designs. And it's sort of again, it's art, but tangible, right? It's on garments. And but it's going to be a brand that can live on its own. It won't need Antoine Tava, the artist. It's really a clothing brand that we're going to be distributing across Canada and hopefully the US very soon. And the first store to carry it, I think very soon is going to be Simon's, so homegrown
Here
Quebec,
in Canada, and Quebec. Yeah.
Quebec company. So really, really happy about that. Super excited. Can't wait. We'll see what's...
Tava, it's incredible. And you're watching this podcast or you're listening to this podcast and you're hearing what it takes. It's not, this is, you're a guy who's an artist, and you started as an artist, but then you opened up a gym, and it was all about branding, and you have a character who is the logo at the forefront, of your gym, and then you have a character and a logo that is at the forefront of your cafe, which is at the entrance of your gym, and then you have Mito, and you're involved in the NFTs and the Metaverse, and you're doing all that stuff, and now you have your own clothing brand. When you're doing whatever it is you do, you have to think outside the box. And this is what you're about. It's bigger than just what you do. You're an artist, but like, what's next? I'm going to ask you that. Like, so now wardrobe, I mean, there's no end in sight with this stuff because it opens up doors to everything, and it's infinite because everything that you like, right, can be explored. Every business,
I mean, it's wild. I don't sleep much, I think. Maybe.
I don't think so. I was going to say
I think I maybe overwork a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it though. Because you know what the thing is, I guess I embody my lifestyle, right? My lifestyle is, my work is not really work. I really don't
fun.
It's
a pleasure doing it.
It's a pleasure, but it's my lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Like even going to the gym, like routinely every day, going to the studio, painting every day, drawing every day. It's really what fuels me. So I don't think I could ever reach a plateau in the sense, like, okay, I'm done. I'm always
evolving.
I'm always itching to do fun stuff. I don't like to turn down projects. Obviously, I pick and choose the project at this point, but I mean, I like challenges. It's what really fuels me. Like even the NFT, even if I knew nothing about it when I started really from scratch. I didn't even know what the application Discord was before I downloaded it, and I really had to learn fast and on the fly. I think that's the way I operate. I just throw myself, and it's do or die, and I gotta do it.
So that would be your advice to anybody who's looking to follow your footsteps, is just like throw yourself into it, learn everything, and be open-minded, right?
Yes. They're always, like, I'm always a bit calculated too, right? There's calculations in the risk. You don't want to just risk it blindly. But I think for an artist in general, like if we forget about business. We talked a lot about business, but when you talk about just like about the artistry of it all, you have to be prolific. That was my number one rule and my suggestion to all artists, even especially that are emerging artists that are coming out of the scene, is to be prolific. You can't just think of the ideas. You got to do them. You got to execute them, and you got to do a lot of it. You got to engrave your art in people's minds. They have to see it. It has to be in their homes. It doesn't matter about the money. It doesn't matter about it. Just, you have to create a body of work that's substantial and that's always there, always present, until you could, build your own faith and your own momentum in that sense. And that was sort of my motto. Just stay relevant and prolific.
And that crosses over in everything, because I'm sure somebody's, watching and wondering, well, I'm not an artist, I'm not in the arts, but I'm a doctor, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm an engineer. Whatever it is people do or choose to do for their career, this applies to.
Totally, honestly.
It really does.
I think so, yeah, because in any field, you have to stay prolific. You have to stay always up with the times.
The times.
Your craft always has to get better, right? Like as a doctor or an artist, you got to stay on top of your game, right? If you start to slip up, people notice.
Yeah.
In any field.
And somebody's waiting to take your spot too.
For sure. There's up-and-comers that are hungry, right?
Yeah.
They want to be the best. And a lot of people have talent out there.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to like push that, it motivates you to push a little extra harder.
Tav, it was great having you here. Not only do I always enjoy our conversations, like Tav and I went to, with a mutual friend of ours, went to Italy together.
Oh my God.
Right before.
Can we go back?
Yeah, let's go. You mean now, like down memory lane, or actually physically?
No, go back physically.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I haven't gone back since
that time.
Since that time.
And we didn't know that the world was going to close the way it did for 2 years. Right before, literally, it was a couple of months before. As a matter of fact, there was a good chance when we were there in the month of October, it was right till the end of November, COVID was already there around this.
Probably it was brewing,
lurking, and we didn't even know. But one of the cool things about being there, and getting to know Tava, and being there, and being in Rome where we were, and then we went to where your dad is from and where my dad is from
Pugliese,
Puglia, from southern Italy, in Bari, and also, and you probably didn't notice this, but you have like this running commentary, as we all do as humans. But as an artist, you didn't even realize it. When we went on vacation, you'll make comments about things. You ever notice that?
I do comment a lot,
or I see you looking. Like we
lot.
could be in a restaurant, and you might, and it's something as crazy as a plate. You're looking at it. I could tell. I even said to Pat, and like you're just looking at things, and it could be, the cutlery, it could be the table, it could be the wine bottle, it could be the location that you're in, it could be the mountains, it could be the ocean. Didn't you were at the cemetery? I went and see, right? We went to the cemetery that day.
Cemetery in your hometown.
In Giovinazzo.
Yeah, exactly.
Italy.
We went to see your grandfather, maybe?
My grandfather, and I had not been there since I was a kid. And it was right by the ocean. There were palm trees, but then it was quiet, serene. And I remember you mentioned, like, that affected you, right? That day, being like,
there was something about it.
There's something about it because
Yeah.
you kept saying there's something about this place it's just. I mean,
But not
when
in
is a cemetery nice?
But not in a negative way.
No, not in a
I
negative
found
way.
it serene.
Yeah.
It kind of inspired me.
Exactly.
Inspired me for life. I mean,
So you
it was
learn
a little bit
lot.
emotional because all those people that are there, there's a lot of value there, right?
Right. There's a story.
There's a story.
Yeah.
We learned a lot from these people, right? From our grandparents, and that's the core of it all, right? The matriarchs and the patriarchs.
Yeah, and so as I was saying, you don't even realize it, but you're the narrator. Tava was the narrator during our vacation, and these little comments, honestly, and sometimes just things he would say, I would absorb. And I remember telling our friend, our mutual friend, I remember telling my wife and saying, it was a treat, even being in Rome and hearing you say things, because your perspective on it is not necessarily the way I interpret things. And that's the beautiful thing about art, right? Is I could look at one of your paintings and see something that maybe even you as the artist, as the creator, that's not what I meant. That's not what, but I see something in the painting. You see something when you put it together. Somebody else walks by and sees another message. That's what I love about it. That's the beauty of what you do.
Yeah, I think so. Talking about Italy, we could talk about Italy on a whole other podcast.
It's just amazing.
I mean, I just can't wait.
You'll have to come back for that.
And by the way, when I walk in Rome, sometimes when I look around, what I think about? Where could I slap my next sticker?
Okay, so Tava in Rome he had these really cool. Now, was that, I can't even remember, was that the fox or was that the...
No, it was the Screaming Heart.
The Screaming Heart. The Screaming Heart.
Piece, yeah.
That's one of your best known...
Yeah.
I guess
you'll see it a lot on the Tava clothing. Little
Screaming Heart, right? So
icon.
He would literally, take off the back, peel off the back, and just boom. I mean, maybe we shouldn't be saying this on the side of a lamppost, on the side of a mailbox. I don't know where you were putting them.
Everywhere.
It was amazing,
and they're still there.
They're still there, and we have to go back and see to make sure. But I'm sure that it's great, and that's the cool thing. Like you were saying about being in Brazil and being able to go to somebody's house. And do the art right in front of their home or on the side of the wall, and you leave your print everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're literally leaving. Not only we do as human beings with our DNA, but you're leaving your own, artistic DNA everywhere you go, and that's incredible.
There's a thrill to that.
Yeah.
There's really a thrill.
That's a high.
The only place I couldn't do it was China.
Yeah. Oh, China, you'd go to jail. Even Indonesia, any of those places,
Yeah,
you'd
China,
probably
I
be
didn't
jailed
do any
for that.
stickers.
Yeah.
But we did beautiful projects in China, but no stickers.
Do you do stickers in Quebec? Or?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. I kind of slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm less of a vigilante, I would say.
Yeah. In your old age, you're less, even though you're not.
We did some fun
old,
stuff. We did some fun stuff.
You're less of a vigilante.
I'm not too much of a bad boy in that sense.
Tav, thank you so much, Tava, for coming on the podcast on the drive-by. Learn so much when you're around and we're talking. Enjoy our conversations, and I hope to see you again in the future.
Thanks,
Frank.
Frank.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me. Thanks so much. Thank you.
This is the drive-by with Freeway Frank.
Watch all episodes of The Drive-By on YouTube. Listen in on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Podbean, and tune in.